understanding that correctly? Sorry.
I think you're asking about the $50 million that they've appropriated towards the ESA, which is, we call them vouchers all the time. Is that what you're asking about? I have the same question that you have. I think that we're probably gonna see somebody challenge that, and hopefully we will see our courts rule in this sense that that is illegal to do. It really is pretty much just giving money to private schools. You know, the homeschooling, they probably can make a little bit more of a case for it, but the voucher system is going straight to private schools. That system was built on a tax credit system. And that's how they got it to pass, was to say people will donate to this fund, and those donations, they'll get a tax credit, and then those donations will go to our private schools. It's been going on for a little while now. But the thing is that it wasn't popular. They had already increased it to $50 million to be able to do this, and they had only collected maybe $24 million in donations. And that's why the governor's trying to kick in this $50 million extra of general revenue to do that. But I think that's the part that they're gonna really have trouble supporting in court. Just the way the language toward the program is written in law continues to talk about a donor. It doesn't talk about general revenue. It talks about somebody making a donation, that person getting a tax credit, and that money going on to the private schools. So I don't know if I answered your question.
I think so, but a follow-up question, can I designate my tax to go to public schools?
No, that would be great. I mean, if you were interested in this program, you could donate money to one of these funds. You can't say it's for a certain child, but you can donate money for these funds and you would get a tax credit for it. And even with that, that sounds like a pretty good deal if you're really interested in that private school. But even with that, they can't get enough people to donate to the fund. So that just kind of tells you that not as many people really believe in it as much as they claim.
Thank you for that question and kind of understanding of what the headwinds that exist right now in terms of public education in this state and in this country. I mean, we had a bill that came out of the House this year that had the $300 million for fully funding the foundation formula built into it. And the supermajority down there was crowing about all the great work that they did. The reality is the Democrats made them do that. This is no different than some folks coming from, or being in Washington, D.C., voting against a bill that would put a bridge in their district, and then coming on out with a big novelty check at the ribbon cutting saying, hey, this is what I did for y'all. Well, if we're paying attention, we know what they did. And what they did was not be a good representative in bringing home the things that we desperately need in our areas, whether it's roads, bridges, schools, hospitals. So remember, when you hear somebody taking credit for something, do a little bit of research. And if you don't want to do the research, go to somebody else that has already done the research, and they'll tell you, no, they voted against it.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that we are clear about this $50 million and the $300 million that they still don't want to fund our public schools. This is the attacks that are going on right now in our state and all throughout the country.
Thank you. So much of the federal plan on education is to defer things back to the states. And as you've heard, there does not seem to be a very great plan for expanding education in Missouri. In fact, I think there was just recently a commission put together of educators, mostly private school, religious school, homeschooling, charter schools, to make sure that their schools got the funding needed for educating their students instead of starving out all students. What this means for rural schools in particular, it means like districts over in St. Elizabeth, over in Eldon, they're going to actually have to fight for resources to stay open. And so you're going to see further consolidation of schools, less accessibility. They're already trying to go for a 4-day school week anyway. And the job of the American government should be to make sure that all students have a proper education from pre-K all the way to secondary schooling. And we have the funds and the capabilities to fully fund education. We just need our legislators to stop earmarking those funds for their own personal pet projects. I think that we can believe in a future that we can count on where we have a universal pre-K program here. And that is what American students deserve, instead of legislators who are going to bail out big corporations and give money to the ultra elite in tax breaks, while the working class really struggles to survive and provide very basic education to our students. The state government is supposed to give us more freedoms. Here in Missouri, it seems like there's an inverse proportion to what is actually happening. So we need to demand that American students, this is an issue that is a human rights issue. American students deserve a quality education, and we can make that happen. It does mean that we need to vote out some of these lawmakers who are shilling for these 13 or so billionaires out there, and focusing on delivering results for working people here in Missouri's 3rd Congressional.